So we know in 2015 they found lymphatic vessels in the brain, and in 2017 they found it's the major outflow. So you want to be able to think as you get older, and trust me, look around you at all the different places that are opening up for brain places around. They're not small, they're humongous the size of hospitals, some of them, because they're expecting a lot of people not to be able to think as they get older. It's because our brains are filling with cellular waste. So that is my specialty. So when you come in to see me, or if you take my course, I teach you how to drain your head and your body, and you have my course for the rest of your life. If you ever have a problem, we can always help you with it. So your lymphatic system must complete circulation, so when you think of blood flow in and out of your organ, think of something else coming out, your lymph system. And when that gets blocked up, you don't have complete circulation. We're learning about senescent cells, arteriosclerosis, osteoarthritis, and it extends. When we remove these, it extends your lifespan, and that's important to me. I'm 60, I want to be about 100, okay? Learned of auto intoxication and I ain't living my life very healthfully. I was a fireman roofing contractor. I was pretty toxic, so we need to learn to detox, because we're becoming toxic from our own waste, and it needs to be every day. It's not about being perfect every day, but it's about waking up and saying, hey, am I gonna have that coffee, or am I gonna have some water right now first to clean my body, and then I'll have my coffee later. If you have a coffee, you're gonna have a pinch of baking soda in it, put some coconut water in. So these are the things you're gonna learn from my course. It's how to balance, because I don't wanna be perfect. So what I teach people, it's about intermittent pH balancing. There's a lot about intermittent fasting now, tons of it coming out. Don't eat for, this guy who cured himself of cancer, he only eats from 1 to 5 o'clock, 1 to 6 o'clock, 5 hours a day. I can't do that. So, but we really are supposed to eat 8 hours a day, fast for 16, so that your body can regulate and get rid of all the sugar and stuff in your body. If we get close to that, it'll be better, if we get closer to that. So deep breathing. Everybody take 2 deep breaths with me. Deep breathe in. Let it out with a little force. One more time. Woo, anybody else getting tingles? I'm getting tingles. Really, that's blood flow. We need to do that more often. You need to do that every 15, 20 minutes. Start deep breathing. Get yourself some oxygen. Water is the next thing, right? You need to drink water. If you're drinking purified water, if you're sick, drink Essentia. It's a 9.5 water. If you drink water from bottles like here, spend a few dollars more extra boss to buy mountain spring water instead of purified water. Because purified water is reverse osmosis water. They say they put minerals in, but it's very little, so it's still very acidic. So, and the next thing is posture. If you're slouching and you're really, just think about it. I want that to be in your head, not perfect, but when you sit straighter, you will feel it. When you slouch for about 10 seconds and then sit up, you feel better. And the last thing I'm going to teach you is how to move your shoulders to open up your lymph vessels, and then we're done. We have some more food. Your lymph vessels are right here. Oh, if you want to stop filming, I'll show them the one picture that I think is good. It's one picture I didn't want to have on film. So basically, the lymphatics, again, it's just a secondary system. Your blood is a loop, right? Arteries and veins. Your lymphatics are between them, and just as a one-way river, it goes through some nodes. Maybe it may even go into a vein once in a while. It doesn't always have to go to a node. It may just go into a vein. Oh, thank you. I'm not tech savvy. And it has to work its way up to here. That's why a lot of people, it blocks right here. And I get thousands of people who tell me from around the world, I can't breathe. Why can't I breathe? Because your lungs are meant to remove acid waste, carbonic acid into CO2 and water. So when we don't breathe a lot, then your lungs build with acid. Then your chest builds with acid, your ribs build with acid. But if your lymphatics aren't flowing, it builds and builds. It'll affect your heart, your lungs. The thyroid is the first organ to go, because it's about a ½ inch away from your major lymph train. And that's what everybody has a lot of thyroid problems. So your lymph system, again, it picks it up, goes into your one little vein in here, and again, it can often get clogged up. I've met many people who just shut down. And it goes right back into the blood, right onto the heart, back out. And that's why you feel a little detox reaction for a day or two. And that's why I made people so sick. I made them have depression, their worst depression. People who didn't even have depression. I clean up a lot because I'm not a perfect person. Trust me, if you see me eating a hot dog or hamburger sometime, don't yell at me. But I eat a lot more vegetables than I've ever eaten. And right now I'm on probably a week of eating vegetables. But when I detox often, I like Epsom salt baths. So if you don't take an Epsom salt bath, if you don't like baths, then soak your feet. It works. I just tried it recently. I did it for 3 days in a row. Twice a day I did it because I like to do things to extreme. And it put me through a little detox. I had night sweats. I felt better afterwards. But anytime we do anything to improve our health, we're going to feel worse first, because it has to remove that waste, and it's just not going to go to the garbage, right? It has to recirculate. And that's why before you do anything to clean yourself up, you want to change your diet a little bit. Start drinking more water. Start doing a little light exercise of just movement. More deep breathing. Everybody take a deep breath. We're all not breathing again. Come on, one more deep breath. All right, any other questions? So just remember that it really has to just recycle. So it may take a day or two. I know when I just got done doing, and again, I'm always detoxing because I'm not a perfect person. So I just got done doing, I had done 2 or 3 Epsom salt baths with baking soda, 2 cups of Epsom salt and a cup of baking soda. I did 3 days in a row, and then the 4th day I went to float in a tank. Anybody see those?
I just did it.
Isn't that great?
Very cool.
Isn't that great?
Yeah.
$59 a month. It's $79 normally. I should get a commission from you, the kids go. But it's called Float, True Rest Float Spa. He started his franchise during the recession. It took him a long time. His name is Nick Janicki, and now he has them all over the country. All over. I wish him luck. I get that. Good for him. But all you do is you go into this big clamshell and you float into like the Dead Sea. It has 1,000 pounds of Epsom salt, and it's clean between each person through ultraviolet rays and a filter and all that stuff. I've never had a problem. I don't care if you all went in a bath. If it was an Epsom salt bath and it was warm, I'm going in, so don't worry about it. But a lot of people like it, and to me, it's 1,000 pounds of Epsom salt. So I felt a little cruddy for a day or two, but then about the 3rd day after that, wow, I felt really good. It's like just clicked. I felt better. So just remember that you always get a little ill when you start to clean up. Any other questions? Yes?
Yeah, when you take your Epsom salts bath at home, how long do you soak?
I used to do it during the recession and stuff when we closed our businesses. This was like an hour, but I wasn't taking a lot of V supplements because I couldn't afford them. So I would stay an hour, and I would do 2 or 3 a week. Really? No, trust me. I cannot do that now. I learned that it was too much because I was having a little ache the next day. So I do about a half hour. Some people for 20 minutes. Maybe if I'm really like I did some yard work really intense, I may stay in 40 minutes, but not too hot. If you ever go in an Epsom salt bath, never go in too hot because it will cripple you. You will barely be able to get out of it. So you really want to be very careful of that. But even just soaking your feet makes a difference. Excuse me?
Why do you add the baking soda?
Baking soda makes it a little more alkaline and it's more detoxing. So that's why I like to start people with just Epsom salt, because the baking soda will make you feel it a little more. It will push out a little more toxicity. I actually tried it recently because I was just feeling lousy. I probably during holidays eating too much junk, and I said it must be the baking soda. So I stopped doing baking soda bath I just did Epsom salt, and it helped. But within 3 weeks, I was getting more acidic again. So I like to I don't put 2. I just put 2 cups of each. Now I put 2 cups of Epsom salt, 1 cup of baking soda. It depends on your bath. And if you do a foot soak, which really works, but I like to get a bucket that comes up to about here. And if it's too heavy for you to pick up, just get a pot and go dump it. Make it easy. But I put 1/3 of a cup of, 1/4 to 1/3 of a cup of Epsom salt and baking soda. And as soon as you put your feet in there, my daughter's a dancer and is in theater. She's 19, and she'll be all tired. I don't want to go in a bath. Come on. I said, come on, you'll feel better. I'll soak your feet up. So I go get a thing for soak, and as soon as she sits, she goes, thank God, it feels so much better. Because it goes into your tissues, and it soaks up into your tissues, and it goes through your body, right? It gets picked up into your veins and arteries, and at least into your lymphatic system. So it's not only through your digestion, you can get it through your feet. Any other questions? Yes?
Have they found a replacement for vegetables yet?
I'm with you. I never ate them. Again, my father was a butcher. We ate tons of meat. He used to bring a side of beef home when they closed the butcher shop and cut it up in the basement. So, we always had meat. And I do love meat, but I did just watch What to Health, I think it was, or something like that, on Netflix while I was making my sauerkraut the other night. And a good way to get probiotics is to make your own sauerkraut and the kimchi. I'm not a chef or anything, but I eat them all the time, and Dr. Mercola found that his kimchi that he made at home had trillions, not when you take a pill, 25 billion or 50 billion, had trillions of different type of bacteria. And it doesn't take much. It's just a few times you try it, and you mess up a few times, I did, but you get the hang of it, and you get it good. But you gotta eat vegetables. You gotta find what you like. You also gotta just take some supplements to, like, I tell people very simply magnesium to start with, maybe a product called Buffer pH I talk about in my course. And those are things I found out early on. And you know what? Recently they found out that baking soda, sorry that's my New York accent, but baking soda can be a cheap alternative to autoimmune diseases. And it fits into what has been, and my book isn't the only one on acid alkaline balance. I show you in my course hundreds of books, especially in the last 2 decades, have come out, tons of them, everybody on diet and all that stuff, but it's been written about since the beginning of time, the early 1900s at least. So we all have to start thinking about it. So acid is something we think about. We spend billions of dollars a year on acid, but we don't think about it. So you may not have any symptoms of acid. If you do, then that's even that's far gone. You got to work on that more. Don't just take a pill. But we all have to think about it, no matter who we are, because you may not feel it or see it. But remember, posture, deep breathing, a little exercise, some supplements. You can see a naturopath. I do believe in the doctors when you've hurt yourself and you break a bone or having a life threatening. But if you want to extend your life and get healthy.
What's an example of of a healthy breakfast that you?
I'll have oatmeal and raisins, and my son has learned to make that for me. You should get the steel cup, but it's 20 minutes. I don't have the time. So we get the 5-minute type. We put raisins in the water when we start to cook it, and then we put the oats in, and they cook together, and the raisins get nice and plumpy, and they add an alkaline little twist to it.
So it's cooked with water, and no milk?
Water. We may add a little coconut milk at the end, or whatever you may want to add. Almond milk, we add coconut milk. But my whole thing is not to be perfect. Again, as I said before, some people are very good. Now, if you're sick, if you have a cancer, then you have to be perfect for a few months, and maybe with little treats. But most of us have to learn how to clean up and just start to balance our lives and say, I went out last night and had lobster or steak, or I had some pasta. What am I gonna have today? I'm not gonna have pasta and bread again. No, I better have some salad today, or something that you like that's vegetables. It don't have to be salads, but it will extend your life. Again, this man changed his life. He didn't do chemo and radiation. He just changed his diet and did detoxes, and he didn't die of lung cancer. And I hear of that all the time. People going to naturopaths and they give them a death sentence, and a few months later they're different. But I believe putting the lymph system to anything, if you get massages, if you get any type of treatment, adding the lymph system to it makes everything better, makes everything more powerful, because it's a system that we're ignoring right now. All right, any more? I don't want to hold you guys too long, even though you can tell I love talking about it. So, but you can talk later and talk.
What do you think of the ketogenic diet? I have friends who love it.
What I tell people is every diet becomes an acid alkaline diet. How can you go on a keto acid, a ketogenic diet, or a paleo diet, or a different diet, a Weight Watchers diet, or a Mediterranean diet, or a South Beach diet, and not know if it's making you acid or alkaline? Because when you're acidic, your body can't give up waste. Now, I talked to a doctor about the Mediterranean diet, and he wanted to put my mom on it, and I said, well, that's going to make her more acidic. And she, and she's already diabetic, and she was, but that's the goal, is to make them acidic, go into ketoacidosis. But you can't do that for long periods, because that's damaging to the body. You may lose weight, but it's going to affect your body. So to me, no matter what you're doing and how you check your pH is with a little pH test strip. And I don't do it much now. I just do it for testing, just to see what's going on in my body when I'm doing certain things. But we should all know, and I guarantee you, most of us are overly acidic. Most of us.
Where do you get those test strips?
You can get them online. Some health food stores will have them, but most health food stores will have just the strips in a roll, and I don't like them. I've done hundreds and hundreds of tests, and I use Vaxa, V-A-X-A. They were bought out by a big homeopathic company, but they're the best strips. They're very easy to read. You get 100 of them for $20 online. Vaxa, V-A-X-A.
And that's for saliva testing?
And urine.
And urine.
Any solution, any water, even your poop. Yes?
I was going to ask, what are you testing your blood or saliva?
When they do test 3 ways. When you're in a hospital, I just had a brother-in-law who just passed. He was ignoring a necrotic lung. He didn't like the doctors for a long time, meaning his lung was dying and breaking apart, and he was just ignoring it. It had shut down his kidney already. He coughed one day, and his wife said, "What's that?" It was his lung. And finally, they brought him to the hospital, and like 2 days later, he was, in a coma and along with us. But when they got him to the hospital, they pumped in 6 tablespoons of baking soda into him. 6 tables. To me, that would put somebody into a pretty bad shock. He was in septic shock, but that to me would just release so much waste. But that's all they did. Boom, 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 boom. Okay. So, I mean, if I would take 2 teaspoons or two tablespoons, number one, I'd be running to the bathroom, and I would feel it. I would feel a detox reaction.
So how much do you take of the baking soda if you're a detox?
I really don't suggest people take baking soda, and that is the first thing that I did when I learned of this 15, 16 years ago. I said, wow, just take baking soda, And I did it, and it throws off your sodium potassium pump. So I was taking too much, and my ankles and my wrist, my ligaments swelled, and it took a long time for that to go away.